Ladies and gents, we're back. And we're back with another reaction video. And now, gonna be watching animation. Scary animation. Now, it's from Wancy Entertainment, which, have many subscribers and many videos. Check them out. Very good. Incredible stories. Some of them quite scary, I won't lie. First one up is I met the most horrible guy on the road. Let's have a watch.
So before getting into the story itself, I want to give some backstory on something that happened when I was around the age of 9. I grew up in a village called Hotlax in the northern parts of Sweden. The road leading from my school to my home was a long one, where the local authorities had to put up lamps which emitted a very dim blue light. I always felt like a nervous wreck when I had to walk to and from my school. Both because, even with the lamps, the road was very dark, and also because I was bullied.
Hold on, why is he walking to school at night? Someone clear that up for me, please? Why is he walking to school while the street lamps are still on? Doesn't make any sense to me.
So the bullies could have waited in the woods, right next to the road. It was one event that I remembered vividly during the winter of 1999. I'd slept poorly the night before and the math lesson had been killing me, so I barely felt awake when I was beginning to walk home. The lamps were off, which isn't really so weird, as the sensors for the lamps were pretty low, so any kid could have taken a flashlight, put it towards the sensors, and after a few seconds, the lamps would shut down for a few minutes. Since I was so tired, I'd closed my eyes when I started walking. But after walking about 20 meters on this road, I opened my eyes and noticed that the lamps were off, and I stopped. I was getting nervous. I was reasoning with myself and decided to push on. I was 10, and in my youthful arrogance, I thought you
said it was 9. Just grown a year by walking down the road. Makes sense. No, it's probably a pretty long road.
Reached the age where my balls should have been as hard as Duke Nukem's. Hotlax is a very quiet village, so I was barely hearing anything except the wind when this happened. To the left of the road is a very thick forest, and suddenly I could just hear this loud scream coming from it. It was very similar to the male scream you can hear in movies when someone's in huge pain.
Bloody hell.
With the speed of Usain Bolt, I ran as fast as I could towards my home without looking back. Now we're jumping to late autumn 2011. My parents were on a trip to the Canary Islands and asked me to move into their house just for the week so I could take care of the dog. The thought of spending a whole week in my old room, listening to my old Mayhem CDs and eating pizza were just too good to be true. I always walked with my dog outside during midnight, because then I didn't have to take him outside again until the late morning hours. This time was no different, except I decided to walk a bit longer. I decided to walk along Oxelvägen and then follow Inimagsvägen towards Norra Hotlagsvägen. There are no lamps on the most parts of Inimagsvägen, so after leaving Oxelvägen, I stopped. I lit a cigar and told my dog to stay close to me. While walking along the road, I was just enjoying the fresh air and listening to the sound of leaves rustling in the trees. There's a pretty big area next to the road where they have chopped down a lot of trees. When I came to that area, my dog stopped and started barking towards the area I described.
Yeah.
When I looked towards the area, I could see the silhouette of a person. The only visible parts were the hands. I said "what the hell" with a pretty loud voice. The person turned around towards me.
Oh God, it's Slenderman!
If I didn't know any better, I could have sworn that only the head and hands turned, as I didn't see any movements at all on the rest of the body. a white mask. The guy was wearing a white mask with a slit for each of his eyes. My dog started whimpering. The guy raised his right hand, with all of his fingers pointing towards me, and he screamed. It sounded like the exact same scream I had heard as a kid walking home from school that afternoon. What must have been survival instinct, I just started running.
Poor dog!
When I had ran for 20 meters or so, I stopped to see if my dog was still with me, which he was, and then looked towards the spot the guy had stood. He wasn't there. He had moved to the spot where I stood, now with his hands down, but the mask still towards me. I started running again until I got to Norra Hotlagsvägen. I'd never been so scared before. When I stopped, I was crying and my whole body was shaking. And then I walked home.
Okay, I won't lie to you. I'm not surprised that you were shaking. You're meeting a man on the road who screamed at you like he did, like, 12 years ago. Okay, brilliant. On to the next one, I guess. Here's our next one. My parking lot nightmare. Now, for us British, parking lot is a car park, so my car park nightmare.
It happened on a Friday night. When I came home from work, I texted my friends and told them to grab a drink with me, but they didn't feel like doing anything this weekend. I'm 24, and all my friends started working too, so I understand that they wanted to stay at home, be cozy, and just relax. I was home alone at the time, sitting all by myself, and then something just came to my mind. I just wanted to drive somewhere. So I got in the car again and drove for a while. Then I tried to find a spot to park my car to have a smoke. There was an underground parking lot that was placed in a one-way street. It was around 11:30 p.m. Even though it was a big city, there wasn't much activity around this area. After smoking, I walked back to the parking lot through the dark, small streets. But I was getting anxious and thought to myself, what if someone is following me? I'm out here all alone. So I turned up the pace and reached the parking lot. There was nobody at the parking lot, so I was relieved. But at that very moment, someone behind me shouted loudly. I got the chills and the hairs on the back of my head stood up. I slowly turned around, and there was this huge guy in a hoodie. He came to me and started talking. He was talking about how he just came out of prison and that his wife changed the locks on the doors. I noticed that his right hand was in the pocket of his hoodie. I swear I saw the outline of an object in that pocket.
Oh no.
I immediately thought it was a knife. Crap, this is not supposed to happen. I'm gonna die in here, I thought to myself. With a quivering voice, I told him very politely that I had to run the graveyard shift at work so that I could leave. And that was when his voice started to change. He angrily said, "No, you have to help me." I reached in my pocket and took out $30. That was the only money I had on me, and I just handed it to him. He took the money, but became angrier and shouted, "Hey, man, is this the only money you've brought?" He took another step and was much closer to me. But what happened next was a miracle. A loud sound came from a door that was shut outside the parking lot. He got distracted and turned his head around, and that is when I rushed to the elevators. It was a separate room which was only accessible to people who parked their cars there, because the door could only be opened with the parking receipt. I got into the elevator safely, but then I heard his loud footsteps behind me.
Oh no.
I ran to my car, got in, and started it. I slowly pulled up to the gate, and it opened. Although I could see the guy charging at me when I tried to get out of the parking lot,
Oh no.
it was too late for him. I stepped on the gas and drove away as fast as I could, and it only took me 15 minutes because I was using too much.
Car number plate 2020. This is, really recent.
Much gas. To this day, I can't stop thinking about what would have happened if that door outside the parking lot wouldn't have made that loud noise.
Well, it's interesting. It was quite a short one. But yeah, no. Creepy, noncy blokes who just got out of jail and their wives changed the locks. It's probably for a reason. Just say, oh, that's really sad, and then try and help them, let them walk in front, and you run away. There you go, kaboom, done. Literal life-saving advice here from Mr. Ollie-FA. Thank you. Let's move on to the next one. Now, the final one of today. Someone broke into our house. Now that's a really noncy face. He's going to rape you, I promise.
This story happened when I was only around 9 years old. We lived in a basic 2-story house in a very small village with only about 100 people. Every year, on the 4th of July, our village had the fireworks show and all the people went to the community park to watch it together. But I couldn't go that year because I had just recently broken my arm, and the doctor told me not to go to any public places for about a week, which I was really bummed about. Just to give you a basic layout of our house, our living room was connected to our front door. If you keep walking forward, you would have got into the kitchen, take a left from there, and that's where my room was on the 1st floor. Anyway, when it was about 8:00 p.m., all of my family went to the park. I was in the living room and started watching some cartoons. About half an hour had passed. I was getting tired, so I turned off the TV and went to my bedroom. I took off my glasses and started to doze off soon. I was almost asleep when I heard the front doorknob turning. I thought it was my family getting back from the park. So I got up and looked out of my room. I hadn't put my glasses back on, so everything was a bit blurry. But I could see clearly that there was only one person in the window. Seeing that not everybody was in front of the door, I felt a little scared, so I shut my bedroom's door and went back to my bed. But then, I heard the door open and then close. I immediately noticed that I didn't lock the door, which my mom had asked me to do before she left. I wanted to punch myself. Then I heard a faint voice say, "Hello, is anybody home? I have some candy. I can give it to you if you want. Just come out of the room that you're in." I quickly got off my bed and hid under it. I tried to be as quiet as possible, but because of my arm, it hurt so bad that I started crying. At the time, I didn't have a cell phone, so it was impossible to call the police. The man was walking towards the kitchen. Soon, he opened my room's door, and I covered my mouth to not make any noises. I saw the man walk up to my bed and stop. He leaned all the way down slowly, and then I saw his face. He had chapped lips and a really
Mr. Nonce over here getting ready to a screw.
scruffy chin, and he was smiling. My heart dropped. I hit my arm on my bed frame when he grabbed me out from under my bed, and next, he made me stand up. He said, "Why don't you come with me? I have lots of candy at my house," which made me so scared. I couldn't move or say anything but just cried while he stared at my face. He then picked me up and started carrying me outside. I kicked and screamed. He tried to get in the white van. He tried to open the door, and I managed to fall loose and landed right on my back in the grass. I got up as quick as I could and made a run all the way to the park. I found my family and told them everything that just happened to me while crying. My dad called the police as we got in the car to go to the hospital since I felt so much pain in my arm. All that I remember was I had woken up in a hospital bed with a different colored cast on my arm. After that, we got home and the police were still there. They caught the man under my bed. They said that he was probably waiting for me to come back home. He actually had a criminal record of pedophilia, sexual assault, rape, and murder. The police said that he had escaped 2 days ago and they've been looking for him since. My family has moved to a bigger town since then. I hate to think about what might have happened if I wasn't able to get loose of his grip. But it comes to my mind every day.
Mr. Nonsense is still at her house. Now that one, I won't lie, I have thought about that before actually. I've thought about what would happen if, someone got into my house while I was, home alone or whatever. And I won't lie, it can't bother you. Obviously you have a scary experience once and it sticks with you for really the rest of your life. But you can't let that happen, just gotta let it, just gotta try and get on with it. And that's the best thing that you can actually do. Because if you don't, then you can't really do much with your life. But anyway, that is all for today. I enjoyed making this video. Hopefully you will enjoy watching it. Again, sorry for the squeak. I'm getting a new mic in about 9 months. So, anyway, I'd like to thank all of you so much for watching. Remember to hit the like, write a comment, and subscribe for more videos just like this one. These videos come out on Sundays, Minecraft on Thursdays. Double week. Yeah, we're having 2 per week, and it's happening, and we're keeping it that way. Anyways, again, I hope you did enjoy. Hit the post notification bell so you never miss a single video I upload, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.